From the clash of wonder, stories burst. Voices rise, creators of the first. Capricorn charts the stars with might, guiding seekers through the night. Be a hero, Ben breaks it down. Gaming wisdom all around. Every card, each pack reversed. He's a guide, creator of the first.
Oh man, it's so hard to cut into that intro. I try not to let it go 30 seconds when we do it, but man, do I want people to hear that song. Hey, welcome to Creators of the First, powered by Radish. We're diving into Wonders of the First. It's a turn-based deck builder game packed with strategy, stunning our unforgettable characters. I'm your moderator, Slappy White, joined by the Wonders top creators on the panel, Capricorn, CarolinaGirl from Wonders Workshop, American Texan Plays, and Ben from Be a Hero Gaming. Make sure you're subscribed to them. You can check it in the description. I'm glad to hear that folks in the audience saying they're finding their way to subscribing to these folks through this Creators of the First. That's the point. Let's get the word out about these great creators. And let's go ahead and let's get the panel up here on the screen. And of course, guys, we have an exciting guest today. We have Brian Tinsman. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring him on. Brian, welcome very much to Creators of the First. We're happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me on. It's fun to be here.
Yeah. Do you now, Brian? As I was listening to the intro, is that something that you're expecting us to change the intro song to put you into the intro song too?
Well, maybe if I work really hard and try to promote myself, I can reach that level.
Yeah, we'll see how Call of the Stones does, and then we'll consider it after that. All right. So for everybody in the Wonders universe, is that we have something a little bit different tonight. What we're going to do, we're going to do the first 15 minutes or so live with you. I appreciate those folks. I can see some folks are already tuning in live on X and YouTube. And we're going to have a couple questions from the panel. Plus, I know we had at least one question from the community that was submitted that we're going to go ahead and ask Brian. And then what we'll do is we're actually going to pause, and that you'll have to come back for the next couple parts. We're going to then take it offline. We're going to record a long interview with Brian. And then you're going to be able to go to Be Hero Gaming, Wonders Workshop, American Texan Plays, and Quarantine Capricorn for the rest of the interview. So it's going to be exciting. You're going to be able to see all these guys and their portion of the interview over there. Not them interviewing, but their portion they're going to get. All right. I asked the panel, like, hey, let's come up with one question before we go to the non-live version. But I want to ask my one question first. As we know, I'm all the panel idiot when it comes to gameplay. I'm the one who's behind everybody else. So I'm going to ask you a really Timmy question here, Brian. All right. So if somebody out there who's a collector wants to play, and I love your 5-minute, like, learn to play in 5 minutes. Like, every collector out there should watch your learn to play in 5 minutes. It's the fastest I've ever heard Brian talk. I want to know how many takes that took, because Brian never talks that fast. But I want to say, if you're a collector and you want to play, I was thinking to myself, there's 1,000 DBS limit for the Dragon Cup. But so I was looking at this. So I have a pre-constructed deck, and we all know that's Grace's favorite thing in the world. She wants more of these from the Wonders team all day long, every day long. So if I'm going to play in the Dragon Cup, here's a really stupid question for the Timmies out there. Can I rip this open, Brian, and forget about the pre-slab, OCM, stone foil requirement? Say I have a paper version of every card, and or I have the OCMs. But can I rip this? And is this a playable deck if I meet the deck restrictions in the Dragon Cup?
That one is, yeah. So when we first released DBS, all of the precons were under the 1,000 point DBS limit, but it's had an adjustment since then. So I believe it's the Patria one that is over the limit now.
Okay, and so that's great to know. And so you think Patria's over the limit, but to your knowledge, none of the others are?
Let's see. The Umberthine one may be also.
Okay.
But the other ones are good.
Okay, So just a reminder, if you're sitting on this pre-con deck, again, you have to meet the deck requirements, but I'm trying to appeal to the folks out there who are the collectors who might not be, they're looking at the gameplay and saying like, man, I don't know how to construct a deck. They have these pre-constructed decks. You still need to meet the requirements that go into the collector side of things. So I don't want to simplify it that much, but I also want to let the collectors know who are scared to play. The first step they have to take is that deck construction. So I figure if people can rip that and see what they have in a deck, they'll see it's not so scary. All right. That was my question. Thank you, Brian, for answering that. Thanks for getting the
Let me jump in too. And the Codex, which is the card database, also has a section called Community Decks that you can look through and see lots of different interesting decks. Some of them are decks that have been played in tournaments, and you can kind of see what's been tried and tested lately too. So it's super fascinating to go in there and see the difference between people who just kind of want to build a theme deck for fun versus things that are doing really well in tournaments.
That's awesome. All right, and I'll make sure to put a link in this video for those folks who are watching it recorded. You can go ahead and click on that link. So thank you for that, Brian. All right, I want to open up to the panel now that I've asked my ignorant question. Is that who wants to go? Oh, Capricorn's going like this. Cap, do you have a question? Actually,
I can.
Grace, yes.
I was going to say I can start us off. Hopefully, I won't get Brian in trouble by asking this one. Do you have a favorite keyword or ability from Call of the Stones?
Favorite keyword ability that
has been revealed, I guess.
So you're right. That's in the stuff that's allowed to be talked about. So the Stone Seekers and Story Tokens are almost certainly the correct answer to that question, because it's an area of gameplay that has tremendous design space and potential, and this is our first step towards exploring it, expanding on it. So that for those who haven't seen it, Stone Seekers are legendary wonders that have the ability on play and tap free create a story token. And story tokens are legendary tokens that start in the token deck. And so when you play it, you get to make one of these things in the same realm or an adjacent realm. And it could be an item or a wonder token. And then after it arrives on a later turn, you could tap it to make another one that you have preloaded, included in your token deck. And if you have some way to untap that Stone Seeker, you could potentially do it again. And so it's almost a deck within a card, right? Like you're taking the story tokens that belong to this one Stone Seeker card, and they're nested within that thing. And so there's just the tip of the iceberg in Call of the Stones to start to show what you can do with this kind of mechanic.
Hey, quick follow-up question. Is there going to be a limit to the size of the token deck?
There is. It's your token deck has to be between 1 and 50 cards, and
Can't be more than 50.
Yeah, and the story tokens have DBS scores too.
I have a follow-up tech.
Yeah, go ahead.
Follow-up question as well. So, do Stone Seeker tokens count as something being played, and therefore, if there is a tax on you playing something, do you have to pay that tax when playing the story token?
Okay, so here we have a technical rules question from one of our tournament players. For those who don't know, Richie has been like top 8ing a ton of tournaments in both Seal and Constructed at Star City Games Con. So this kind of stuff is definitely going to be important to him. So no, it's creating a token is not the same thing as playing a card. Playing a card is putting it from your hand, and these things come from your token deck.
But if I wanted to use Kraken of the Inferno,
Yeah, definitely. That's how you kill them for sure.
All right, I'm good.
Brian, just an overall question is the story tokens and the way they're being used with Call of the Stones. Is that something? Again, I'm not. I haven't been a gamer before. I play Wonders of the First with my son. But is that something that's done in other games, and that's something that you're introducing to Wonders, or is that a whole new idea that it's not being employed in other games? And I'm asking this for the folks who aren't that familiar with the other games.
Yeah, no, it's quite original. It's not something that you see in other games, and it's kind of amazing that that's the case because games like Magic have been around for 30 years, and they've done a few things that are sort of similar to it, like pulling things into the game from outside, like enter the dungeon and ring bearer and things like this, but it's really not comparable.
Wow, that's telling something. And I know you and I have had interviews before where you talk about what you had to do at Magic. Great opportunities there, but some of them you had to work very hard and very long to introduce new ideas. So if you were still at Magic, do you think you could have gotten that if you had come to them with this idea? Do you think that it would have been employed? Or they would have been excited and be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, the difficult part about it would be to have something that acts like a sideboard, but is not a sideboard, because Magic has a long tradition and rules built up around using their kind of outside the game area for swapping in cards between rounds. And so that sort of steps on the toes of doing something like a token deck. So that would have been difficult to get through the process, but the utility and the interest and the gameplay usefulness of the token deck is extremely high. So
well, I'm looking forward to seeing them copy you, Brian.
I mean, I'm copying myself a little bit because I did Judgment, which had the wish board, and the wishes were something that I pushed through. So that's pulling cards in from outside the game too. Although there's no token deck involved in that, but
that's great. Ben, did you have a question for Brian before we go to the recorded portion?
I do, yeah. So let me just preface it by saying I thought that when the second set came out, it was going to be mostly the same mechanics with maybe one or two small changes. I am not a game designer, and so that's probably why I'm so naive about that. And even just with the few cards we've seen, there are some major mechanics changes. And the thing I wonder about is that going to be going forward in future sets? Are we going to see as big of changes set after set? And how do you kind of avoid power creep and the game kind of going beyond its roots as it was originally made?
Yeah, so there's a few parts to that question. So there are a lot of new keyword mechanics and new exciting concepts happening in Call of the Stones, and it's probably more than it needed, but it's a chance to make a first impression with the first expansion, and it's a huge set, and the game really it just pulls design ideas out of designers. Like it's just super fun to design new cards and new mechanics, new concepts for it. So we got excited about it, and we had so much that we wanted to show off that we just stuffed it in there. And there's quite a bit also that we had to kick out to later sets. So I think as we triangulate towards the mean, there will end up being new interesting keywords with every set. This might be a bit on the high side.
Okay, so maybe future sets going forward won't be quite so massive in the mechanic changes.
Yeah, we'll we'll see, but that's where my head is at. The other part of the question was about power creep, and my philosophy on power creep is that a small amount of power creep is healthy, because you want people to get excited and have an important reason to want to buy the new set. But if there's too much, of course, then the old cards become obsoleted, and then people don't have excitement about collecting and having old school cards either. And to me, it's sort of like economics with national currency and inflation. Like you want to have, like the Fed wants to have a certain amount of 3% inflation or something like that, so that people want to spend money and not just sit on it. But if there's too much or too little, you get problems. So that's kind of the target that I like to shoot for.
Who would have thought that? Hey, who had it on their bingo card that Brian Tinsman would refer to the Fed when talking about power creep and Color Stone? Sorry about that.
I was going to say, we'll leave that balancing act up to you.
By the way, I just want to appreciate everybody who's joining us live. A shout out to Jay, the True Blue Ninja, Whiplash Jackson. We also have a couple comments out there. Is that we had Pepper saying make Pink Spore great again, and then also saying that we need an item that makes on defense triggers on attack. All right, well we're gonna go ahead. We're about to go to the recorded version. We've got a little bit of live programming left. We have a whole lot of programming left. I can see folks in the Discord, and if you're watching this on YouTube or X and you're not familiar, but there's a very active community on Discord. Don't be scared if you don't know what Discord is. It's a social media app, and it's a great community where Brian interacts with folks. But we're starting to get folks in here. We're tuning in. Just to let you know, the rest of this interview is going to be carried on Be a Hero Gaming, American Texan Plays, Quarantine Capricorn, and Wonders Workshop. You'll see the rest of the interview there. We're going to go ahead and film the rest of it after, but we're going to go maybe just 2 more questions because American Texan and Capricorn didn't want to, we want to make sure to get there. And I do have one community question. Thank you, Wonders Workshop. So Texan, you want to go up next with your question for Brian?
Yeah. Are there any card combinations after release that people found that surprised you?
I was quite surprised that people were able to get their combos out so consistently. I thought that it would be quite rare to have a combo between Princess Aurelia and Eternatum Space Lich, and it turns out that the card draw allowed people to get through their decks very efficiently and consistently get to those things. I did not see Rocket Ricker and Pastel Bloomdrake prior to the release of the set. So
really, wow,
yeah,
that was the deck I played in Houston 1250 tournament, and
fantastic.
I'm trying to think. I think I went 3-1 that night, but the combo I think I only got out twice. The other games I just had to deal with, not having it come up.
Yeah, awesome.
The DBS is just so low on all of those cards. It's crazy. I have to assume it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other combos that surprised us.
No, that's great. I mean, that's what came to mind. So I think that's what Texan was looking for. And you asked the question. Of course, you were playing that deck. Like, were you expecting him to say that? Is that why you asked?
No, not at all. I had no expectations. I was just curious, kind of, what caught him by surprise. Because I know there's some things that, when we launch things as a business, we're surprised at what's actually attracting people or what catches their eye. So I figured, there's probably something that, as much playtesting as you do and as much even designing, there's probably in 400 plus cards, there's probably a couple that you didn't match together that caught you by surprise.
Yeah, for sure. The first week of release, there's more total games and brain power thinking on it than we have in the entire design and development run. So there's definitely stuff that catches us by surprise.
Yeah, and stuff that catches you by surprise, like putting out a second set of Wonders of the First and seeing such incredible demand that everybody wants to buy case after case. And of course, there are serialized cards in the collector version, so they are capped and they absolutely can't be printed unlimited. But if you want to hear Brian, I'll say a couple words about that, but that you'll have to catch that in the recorded. We're not going to talk about this. We do want to acknowledge that we're recording this live on Tuesday, Veterans Day, November 11, 2025. Shout out to the veterans out there. Thank you for your service. But we're recording this live. And of course, the big news that came out today was allocation for Call of the Stones for the collector boosters, not for product, but just for the collector boosters. We'll have a couple words from Brian in the recorded version. All right, Capricorn, is that we've got a community question after you, but let's hear your question for Brian before we go to the recorded.
So really quick, a couple of rapid fire things to go with the Stone Seeker.
No, Cap, you get one question.
One.
It's in trouble.
Okay, fine. My one question is simply this. Going into Call of the Stones, was there one orbital in particular that you felt like needed to be respected more and you should definitely focus on making more powerful this time around? And then the opposite of that as well. Was there a certain orbital that seemed like it was really powerful, really popular, that maybe you needed to ease up on the gas with?
Yeah, so Sulfera needs probably a little more gas, but I mean, not really, because I think, originally the reason Sulfera hasn't shown up in tournaments as strongly as Petrian and Umbrathine is mostly due to DPS scores, I think. And so the sequence that happened was people were getting out, some awesome, cool, Blazafel and Eternatum and some of these powerful kind of build around wonders, and then they would get killed off by removal spells, and then so dialing back the removal allows more room for those awesome mythics to shine, but it means that there's less reason to play Sulfera in that case. So, DBS adjustments help a lot with changing up the meta that way. So, I also think that Boundless is very very delicate to find the right balance, because a lot of what Boundless does is say, you can't play the stuff that you want to play, or here's the restrictions. And if you make that too strong, it leads to unfun game situations where round 6 and 7 you just can't play anything. Sorry, tough luck, right? So finding a way to juice up the power level of Boundless while still keeping fun gameplay, that's one of the goals that we had. And then to answer the question about what's too strong, well, Petria is very strong, and it got a lot of everything. So in particular, too much card draw and a lot of attune too. So all of that is super efficient for the action economy. So we're going to bring that a little bit back more in line.
All right. And well, speaking of the DBS, Brian, I do want to bring up this this question from the community. I believe DBS will be what sets apart and propels this game to a staple CCG within 5 years. Is there an expectation or goal to keep the DBS deck limitations for tournaments the same, 1,000 to 1,250? You did kind of touch on this, or do you expect this to change with the release of additional sets? And so you kind of touched on it, but just I want to let the community member have their question.
Yeah, so the goal is to keep deck limits at 1,000 DBS as the standard, the main way. If you show up with a 1,000 point deck, there's going to be other players who also have 1,000 point decks. We want to make that a standard that we don't deviate from. And so then to make that happen, we're going to have to carefully balance DBS of new sets that come out and make adjustments to cards, to card DBS scores as those new sets come out too. So if you see something like, Sears Gaze is one of the problem child cards, that's going to get its DBS raised, but we're going to try to do it in a way that is not like too shocking or too much all at once, right? The goal is that any given DBS raise will be done in stages over time and not just like, this thing just went up 100 points.
Okay, and Capricorn, I didn't mean to cut off any follow-up questions you needed. Again, we have plenty of time left from Brian. There's going to be a lot more coming out, but just for right now, did you have a follow-up to what you asked?
Well, I was just curious about the first question with the Stone Seekers. Just quickly, do the story tokens have DBS? And is it safe to assume that each of those story tokens can only be played once, and then it's no longer in your token deck and you can't access it again?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They do have DBS scores. So that's going to be an important tool in balancing them, because you can see, like, just at first glance, you see that if you play a Stone Seeker and then it generates two story tokens, one to the left and one to the right, you suddenly had one card that's affected 3 realms. That's extremely powerful, no matter just on the face of it. And so the DBS scores are going to be the main way to balance that. And yes, they all story tokens are legendary, meaning you can only have one copy of each story token in your token deck. And the rule with tokens is that if it ever leaves the world, it's gone. It's out of the game, and it's not even banished. It ceases to exist and can't get it back. So if you got token kill against, or even like bouncing and portaling, right? That's permanently getting rid of those story tokens.
Well, you know what's not banished is Brian Tinsman, because he's going to be back for more. And you can catch the rest of this interview on Be Hero Gaming, American Texan Plays, Quarantine Capricorn, and Wonders Workshop. And I do want to say that Rabanero Peppers and for Jay, we see your questions and we'll answer them in the recording. So thanks everybody for tuning live. I want to thank Brian for joining us. And again, if folks want to stick around, we're going to be on those channels. Look for it in the coming week coming up. So thanks everybody. And thank you, Brian, for sitting down with us for this interview. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
From the clash of wonder, stories burst. Voices rise, creators of the first. Capricorn charts the stars with might, guiding seekers through the night. Be a hero, Ben breaks it down. Gaming wisdom all around. Every card, each pack reversed. He's a guide, creator of the first. Creators of the first. Wonders, wisdom, quenched our thirst. Together we shine, community blessed. With the creators of the first. With the creators of the first. Wonders Workshop, CarolinaGirl brings light. Sharing secrets, shining light. sharing secrets, shining bright. Knowledge deep, her voice rehearsed, a championed creator of the first. American Texan plays it true. Passion for the game shines through. From the heart his insights burst, a leader, creator of the first. Creators of the first. Wonders of wisdom quenched our thirst. Together we shine, community blessed, with the creators of the first. With the creators of the first. When the packs unfold and the stories call, these voices rise to guide us all. Wonders keepers, friendships nurse, we stand with creators of the first. Creators of the first.